Yo, what's good, rap fam? It's DJ Skandalous, and we're back. This time, we're gonna dip into my old archive of interviews I did back in the day around 2010. So this one is part 3 with my interview with 2Pac's sound engineer Dave Aron, who actually passed away in 2019. However, I was very fortunate enough to do this interview with him way back on November 23rd, 2010. You can find my other parts on my Skandalous Talk channel or on my podcast, the 2Pac Music Podcast, as well as Skandalous Talk Podcast. You can find that on Anchor.fm, Spotify, iTunes, everywhere else. Now in this part, we actually talk about Faith Evans in the studio with 2Pac, and I ask him the question whether or not 2Pac actually got physical with Faith Evans. Also, we talk about 2Pac's posthumous albums, Loyal to the Game, Pac's Life, and whether or not 2Pac will be down with that. Now what's really cool about this interview I did with Dave Aron, now like I said, this is way early in my career. I record that shit on Skype, sound quality's piss poor. But looking back, what I really found fascinating is that we actually talk about the state of hip hop back in 2010 and whether or not 2Pac would be down with the music that was coming out around that time. And Dave Aron actually goes over whether or not he feels like 2Pac will be down with the music of today, or whether or not the music will be different if he's still alive. And it really hit at home because we see how rap has even evolved even worse since 2010, really dumbed down, and doesn't really have the social impact that music had in the 90s and the early 2000s. So this is from someone that worked with 2Pac, worked on his music from All Eyes on Me, Machiavelli, Still I Rise. And he basically says if 2Pac was still alive, mumble rap and rap of today would not exist. Alright guys, so here's part 3. We're going to have another part coming soon on my Skandalous Talk YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe to me on DJ Skandalous YouTube and my Skandalous Talk YouTube channel. You can also check me out on my Skandalous Archive channel, which is going to be a channel for all my old classic remixes from 2009 to 2018-19. And like I said, you can check out my podcast, the 2Pac Music Podcast, on Spotify and iTunes, and the Skandalous Talk Podcast. And the difference between those is the 2Pac Music Podcast is just going to be about 2Pac. My Skandalous Talk channel is going to be about general hip hop, 2Pac, movies, sports, whatever. Wrestling, you know it. Alright, let's get into this old throwback interview. Let's get it.
We gotta hit him up with that exclusive DJ Skandalous shit. Let's ride.
Were you around when Faith Evans was in the studio?
I've seen Faith in the studio. I didn't record Faith, but I've seen her in there like once or nothing, but it was like not really, like I didn't see her for extensive times. I didn't really see her in there for like as much to really say anything about it or anything like that.
TuPacNation.net
Okay, because she just recently wrote a new book saying how 2Pac like hit her or something.
Well, I don't know. I never saw Pac do that. You know, I saw Pac, you know, he would come in. I mean, he might have just had dinner with her or like whatever. He'd gone out, like they were in the car or whatever. You know, I don't know. I think he was with her. But I didn't, like, he didn't bring her in the studio and they just start fighting or nothing like that. No, you know, it wasn't like that.
Okay. What are you currently involved in now these days? Or what artists do you work with now?
I'm still working with Snoop, and I'm opening a studio in Burbank right now with an SSL board, you know, a real nice mixing studio with a couple production studios in the back. And actually, that's what I'm about to do right after this interview is go get the keys to that place for the first time and go get this thing cracking. So by next year, I'm going to have the studio totally popping. You know, in the meantime, I'm working with some artists, some independent artists, some people that are, on internet artists, just grabbing some internet artists off of the internet who's making videos and making them a star. You know, no, that's not quite where we're going with this. You know what I mean? But you know, if you want to make some good music, you want to get in the studio, and once I open up the studio especially, you know, definitely internet artists, everyone's invited to come and partake, you know, and be a part of the whole scene, you know, but you got to have a plan and you got to have a budget to work with, or we're not going to be able to really get any good quality music done, you know.
So where do you see yourself in 10 years? Still doing the same thing?
10 years. I'm going to have this studio totally cracking, maybe another one. It could be have a few ties with an industry in label or something like that, you know, maybe be a part of a label, maybe have my own label. You know, I really am not considering much of that right now. I'm really just trying to get this studio, and I do a lot of education for music production. And I can see that aspect of it growing as well, you know, so maybe I'll even have like a recording school as this studio progresses, it might turn into that and have like a whole nother studio for making music. So, you know, there's a couple different options there for the 10-year plan. But, you know, right now I'm working on this 2011 plan of just making this studio really everything it can be, you know, because I'm not going to be the only one working there. You know, I want to rent it out to other engineers, other mixers, other producers, and this and that, you know. So, you know, we can really keep a nice flow of in-house music going on over there, you know. You know, I've been working with, like, this girl Kaya from Florida who's real good. She's a pop artist, you know, like she's trying to get her whole internet thing and her internet crowd and a buzz together, you know. So we're trying to work on her stuff, you know, but it's more pop, you know. But, you know, as far as my associate has a band called Cicero that he's working with, it's more pop and R&B, you know, and we're doing stuff with that. As far as, like, you know, just up things, you know, I'm trying to get, like, the new, we might do some work with on the new Sublime record as it comes out. I don't know, I'm just connecting with a lot of different artists right now, trying to see what's going to be in store for 2011, since 2010 is kind of coming to a close right now. You know, at the same time, I'm always on tour with Snoop, and I mix his shows so that they always sound proper. And, you know, everybody's invited out there and say what's up to me at the soundboard when I'm there, you know. So, you know, you can come see a Snoop show. He's always performing somewhere near you. I got a couple more minutes if you want to ask a few more things.
How do you feel about 2Pac's latest releases? Do you think it's up to par with other albums?
I honestly, you know, I like some of the stuff that he came out posthumously with, you know, and with the latest release, you know, I kind of feel the same as I felt with, like, a few of the other releases previously, you know. I'm just, I for one, wonder if he would approve of some of the beats, you know, or this or that. You know, although he would take a lot of beats and try them, he was real experimental with it, pretty much anything. So I can feel that maybe he might, you know, he might go with it, but I question that part of it sometimes. I also, you know, you gotta see the fact that, like, the way that music is today, you know, if Pac was around, he'd be, like, just tearing up some of these people out here, some of these rappers, some of these artists, you know, some of the content of the music that we're listening to and this and that. You know, there's really no deep content to the music right now, you know what I mean? You know, very rarely do you find that. And I think Pac would have a big thing to say about that if he were alive. And, you know, talking about certain relevant things to today, certain current things, you know, that he could address that he's not able to do because, you know, obviously he's dead and has been, you know, for, you know, 15 years or so. So, you know, that's the problem, you know, with the albums, is that it's hard for him to stay relevant, you know, although he's always got so much deep stuff that he just talks about in general that it's tight. But he's not able to really address what's going on now. And I think that it would really have changed music if he were still around, because some of this whack ass shit that's coming out right now, I don't think would come out if, you know, it wouldn't really be popping the same way if Pac were around saying, hold on, man, you guys are really buying that type of thing, you know what I mean? That's how I feel about, you know, the posthumous Tupac stuff, you know. I can't say that I've heard every song off on the latest album, but that's how I feel about it in general.